Hey guys, welcome once again to the Raj Kaul Podcast, and this is Raj Kaul. This is a very special episode. But before I get to the podcast about this episode, I just want to make all artists aware. If you're fed up of trying to get your song playlisted on Spotify or the radio stations, and you're struggling and you're hitting a dead end, what I want you to do, I'm gonna have three new playlists. Well, a few new playlists. One's the UK Punjabi Top 50 and a Punjabi Top 50. If you want your song on there, if you search for Raj Kaul and you were to search for them, or just message me on Instagram, um, or drop me an email. And if you want your track on those, I'll send you the instructions. I'm gonna put a social media post out anyway, but I'll send you the instructions on how to get your song on that playlist, because we're going to make this playlist blow. We're going to have an alternative way to get your music heard, guys, because I'm, I'm fed up, and a lot of this podcast actually is going to be about my musical journey, but we'll get to that. But I'm going to introduce a special guest. Well, she's not the guest, she's the interviewer. She's my wife. Ruby's going to be interviewing me in this one about my musical journey, and we're going to do this once every say a year or so, just to catch up where we are, where I am in my journey. But I'll let Ruby take over from here. So yeah, over to you, Ruby. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm just it's a bit weird because I've got my podcast interviewer thing on with you, and really I just saw you just like 10 minutes ago.
Okay, it's just that normally you ask the guests how they're doing, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty much doing you. Yeah, anyway.
Good. Yeah, yeah, I'm good. Just I think it's been really busy. I've been not been well, as you know, had a cough and a sore throat and bits and bobs like that. But Hontikia anyway. Yeah,
Okay, that's good to hear.
yeah.
Anyway, so I'm going to ask you then about your background. How did your musical journey start?
Okay. Yeah. So you want to get straight into it? Yeah. So, all right,
Only
that's fine.
because we both have girls that could wake up at any time, and
Yeah, so this has been done in the middle of the night. So normally either Ruby or myself are looking after the girls, but one of us is doing one task or the other. So basically, what did you want to know about my music?
so go back to the very start. You know, the
Do you
start.
want my music, or do you want my background, or what are you trying to get out?
What made you, well, where are you from? Where did you grow up? And then when did the musical journey become a thing?
So really, it's a bit of a funny one. This is because initially I was brought up. I mean, I was brought up in Handsworth for the majority of my childhood. But before that, and this is going out to the Aston Massif, because I've got a lot of listeners who are from Aston originally, and because there was a lot of the music industry was from Aston to Handsworth. A lot of the
Yeah.
musicians and stuff, they all had their roots to Aston, and the reason why, because there were a lot of Indian families in Aston, and they all got musical connections. I mean, some people in Excellency, DCS. I think even people like Vishal Mahay can root themselves. Those who know that multi-talented musicians can go back right to Aston roots and stuff. So, but I wasn't actually. That's my non-gay basically in Aston. But my actual I was mainly brought up in Lozells, which is not
Okay.
not far from Aston. So you have Aston, you have Lozells, then you have Handsworth.
How old were you when you say brought up? Are you talking about primary school?
So up until infant school, oh sorry, junior school, I was in Lozells, but
Okay.
I was to and fro to Aston, like really quite often. Like it'll be like at least once a week.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is where you went to infant school and did your musical journey.
Lozells was the infant school. Yeah, so uh,
Yeah.
I think musical journey wise, what do you want to know about it, sort of thing?
So, like, you said this is where all the West Midlands musicians were mostly at, Aston area, and Lozells was not far. So, you know, like how when did your love for music, or when did you think, okay, it sounds like you started your musical journey as a kid, you know? So,
Yeah, so I mean. that part of it, I think it was quite organic because, as I was saying, the my mama,
Yeah,
who is Suki Chan's dad. For
yeah.
those of you who don't know, he was a musician. He was into music and stuff as well. But then I don't remember him performing in bands and stuff. I don't remember that myself. But there's history in that sense. And Suki Chan's my mama's Saga mama's son. So who for those English listeners, my maternal uncle. Um, so but yeah, in terms of music, I was just brought up in a house with, the typical. I was talking to someone else the other day. I forgot who it was. Where you'd buy the cassettes, like video cassettes on a Saturday, and your dad would bring those, and you'd listen to those all day, all the Amitabh Bachchan classics. But my mum would constantly have music in the house, so we lived in a joint family at that time. So it was my dad and my chacha were married to my mum and my Masi basically, so or my chachi you can call it. So we all in one house in the 80s, and that's which is a very vibrant time, and music was constantly played.
The two brothers married to two sisters.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah,
it's like your one big family, and you got your cousins as well. A
yeah,
lively house. And
yeah.
then
But music was always constantly played, and we were constantly like there was a constant influence in music. Whether it was, I remember my mum listening to like Muhammad Rafi back in, and my dad, and people like Kishore Kumar were getting influence from the because my dad was a big Amitabh Bachchan fan, so we'd have like even though the new films were out, you'd always have an Amitabh Bachchan film come. Like
yeah,
Sharabi will be on and just things out. So yeah,
yeah. And Amitabh Bachchan was the one who brought the whole family together to watch.
yeah, yeah.
The other actors were great and everything, but when it was an Amitabh Bachchan film, everyone was there. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
it was just a given, wasn't it?
It was a time. It's gone now, and it's kind of
Yeah.
sad. But there you go. Okay, so is that the Bollywood scene that got you it?
No, as I said, there was Gurdas Maan
Mhm.
as well. People like Jamkilla and Hans, Sardu Skandar back in the day. But I also was, I suppose, like a massive top of the pops fan back in the day, massive Jacko fan. Like you can probably find this really funny video of me when I was 12 doing Michael Jackson dance, and so basically when Bhangra was on, I
Yeah.
was doing Michael Jackson dance to Bhangra. 'Cause, yeah, I was that influenced by Michael Jackson when I was young. So, and you'll probably find a video. We've got it somewhere, and I'm doing like doing Michael Jackson's he's pelvic thrust dance moves to Bhangra. So, as an 11-year-old kid, you got to see. And I'll tell you a funny story actually. So, I borrowed a film, like I think it was Van Damme film to one of my when I was in year 7 or
Yeah.
year 8 at school. I borrowed it to one of my friends, and at the end of that video film was recorded, and he saw it and he was cracking up. He saw that my Michael Jackson dance, which is
Oh.
yeah. This is at a school, yeah. So
Oh gosh. Okay. So it sounds like a variety of influences happened. So there was your mama who was a musician himself,
yeah.
uh, and then you said, but you were aware of him, but it's not like he was around much. But
No, he was. I was too young probably to sort of see. Probably, I think he passed away maybe when I was 8. So
yeah,
yeah, so I was too young to see that. But then when I moved to Handsworth, like a lot of my cousins and stuff, they started getting into music themselves. So there was
yeah.
always that little musical influence.
Yeah, I seen a picture of your mama, and I think I saw one of his band photos.
Yeah,
And like for back then, I didn't expect Punjabi people back then to look like that and to pose for a band. You know what I mean? I thought
yeah,
so when I saw that, I thought that was really cool. And then from what everyone said about him, he was a very talented musician, and he was also a martial artist. So he was definitely that cool uncle.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so you can see why he's an influence.
yeah.
Okay. And what was the name of his band, just to pick at it?
I think
Sorry, I keep picking at your mama, but
I think John Pachan. I think it was. Yeah, I think John Pachan. I could be wrong. But if I remember correctly, but I could be wrong. Yeah.
okay, well, Wow, that they're kind of, are they linked to another famous
No, that's
artist?
Chirag Bashan, which is a Mongol
Okay.
singer. So
Okay.
yeah, hence I don't want to get anyone to get mixed up. So yeah, they were
Okay, fair
band,
enough. Okay.
yeah.
No, it's just the reason why I'm picking at your uncle is just because sometimes some Punjabi artists or artists in general say, "Oh, these are my family roots. This is my heritage. This is my genetics," kind of
Hmm.
thing. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I was just asking a bit more about that. But
Hmm.
he wasn't, like you said, you were too young really to be influenced by him as such.
Yeah.
Like there was Bollywood, then there was Top of the Pops, and then there was Bhangra singers. So can you elaborate? Like Bollywood, I can understand was through Amitabh Bachchan films. Top of the Pops was on TV, and then so the Bhangra singers, what they were just around and
So this is in the 80s when I was young. They weren't around like I'd say, but we would constantly listen to the music. Like my mom had, we had a Hitachi double decker cassette player.
yeah,
It's like a boombox sort of thing,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
one of those. So we'd be constantly listening. Like the latest Bhangra bands would be on there, and then I suppose I'd also have like my cousins influencing new music. So we were all around this Bhangra music basically. At that time, I think when I was young, it was probably people like Alap, Pardesi, and Azad.
And
Uh,
did you see these guys perform at weddings or events? And
no,
because they were
funnily enough, it was very like we did go to weddings, but I don't remember me seeing as a kid many live performances.
okay,
I
okay.
think I saw a few, but I can't remember. I was a kid. I can't remember who they were now, but
Mhm.
I saw a few, and but I don't remember who they exactly were.
So mostly that you got the audio cassettes from the local Asian shop. Like it's similar to myself. So like I went to Southall
Mm,
Broadway. There was the one shop that did all the CDs, cassettes,
yeah.
and that's how I got the latest music. But I personally got Bollywood stuff. So you got your Bhangra stuff from the
Well,
local shop. Is that how?
that's skipping ahead a bit. If you want to go into the background, we're right now. I'm still talking about sort of when I was in Lozells.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when I moved to Handsworth, when I was about 11, 12, or I moved to Handsworth when I was infants, but w there was a shop called Hi-Fi in Handsworth, which
Okay.
was like the central hub of video films and cassettes and music. It was
Yeah.
by where KFC, I think KFC's closed in Handsworth now, where KFC used to be, where S&D supermarket is.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what S&D supermarket is in Handsworth. It's there. We're opposite the Frightened Horse pub. The Frightened Horse pub's gone as well. So those of you don't know. So it was at the corner, and a guy called May and his family used to own it. And so I think my cousin used to come down every weekend, and we'd pop down, walk down to the shop, and check out the latest Bollywood songs and
Mhm.
Bhangra cassettes, Punjabi cassettes, whatever was out at that time.
Mhm.
I remember once I must have been about 11, 12, and Achanic's thing, Achanik with Vijay was there, and everyone was like, "Oh, Achanik," and you
Okay.
had your cassette signed and stuff. So yeah, it was cool times, cool times.
Okay. So
Yeah,
going back to when you were in primary school, like Lozells,
yeah.
did your did your interest in music start from them? Sorry, I'm really asking you questions where you have to think back to childhood now,
No,
so
it's
you
fine.
might
It's fine.
remember. Like, do you remember that first minute or second or day where you're just like, oh, I like this,
No, what I do remember is that I had a constant fondness of singing. So, like I'd always be humming the songs. Well, it was a long time ago, so it's quite hard to sort of think. But there are some explicit memories I've got in my head.
When I first met you, you
Yeah,
kept humming.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
When I first met
yeah, so I'm
you.
always constantly singing. So,
Yeah.
um, I mean, at that time, I remember when I was. This is before we'd moved to Handsworth, but it was we were still house sharing with my chacha that time. So, but I remember going to India and just knowing the words to this old Muhammad Rafi song,
Right.
and yeah, so I think
Do you remember what you were constantly humming? Was it mostly Mohammed Rafi, or was it just everything? Like, so you watch Top of the Pops, you come away humming the music, or you watched a Bollywood film, then you come away humming the sound.
Yeah, I
Was that
can't, to be honest, I can't remember, but I can probably remember from the age of 11, 12, maybe.
okay?
Then
Okay,
I can start remembering, yeah, but not before that. It's a vague memory, and but what I do remember when I was in Lozells, I was a massive Michael Jackson fan. I had the Michael Jackson action figures, and I don't think they were actually they were like dolls then, but
yeah,
you
yeah,
had like different shoes and stuff. They weren't like action figures, but you had different shoes, different outfits of Michael Jackson. Yes, it was. I remember being a massive Michael Jackson fan and staying up late sometimes to watch his music, and at 11 o'clock was really late then, like to watch Michael Jackson on TV and stuff.
most boys like your age at that time when, and the merch as well. I remember my brother had the Michael Jackson Sega Game Gear game, Moonwalk.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it was actually quite cool, so I was trying to locate it recently.
yeah,
The merch for him was amazing, and
yeah,
yeah, and the memories. Anyway, so going back to, so it sounds like your love for you became a vocalist, or your love for vocalizing started from a really, really young age. And
yeah,
in school, was there any influence, or was there any encouragement, or
yeah.
anything like that?
So what happened was when we moved to Handsworth initially. So I remember the first time singing was probably just at parties and things where my mum would make me sing.
Okay, the Asian family scene, we're like, go and you stand up and
Yeah,
sing.
yeah, sing, and then sometimes like say one of my mum or something will come and they make me sing a shabd or something
Really?
like that.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, shabd. And
Wow.
yeah, so I remember those moments like quite vividly, but
In
not.
the party. So there's a party
No,
going.
so like
Okay, go on.
these are abstract memories, so they're not
Right,
like in any
right.
any certain order, but from that time,
Yes.
it's abstract memory. So my mom must come down, and he was quite religious, so
Okay.
they'd get me to sing a shab
Of course, yeah.
just to impress him, sort of thing. Sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
But then at parties, I'd sing as well, and yeah, so
yeah. Just Punjabi or Indian songs or
Punjabi. At that time, I remember singing. There was a song called by Master Sleem when Master Sleem was young,
right.
and the song was "Aave Na Ladya Kar Tola," and so that I knew that song for some reason
Okay.
at the age of 11, 12. So Master Sleem was a child artist, and he singing that he actually released that song like officially, like in order. He's a phenomenal singer. But I
Right.
remember knowing that song, and I went to school and sang it. And when I was in year 7, we had like an audition thingy, and you just
Oh wow.
the teacher asked me, "Oh, can sing a song?" And but my voice was like, remember, it wasn't broken or anything then.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's like,
Okay.
like, that kind of high pitch sort of thing.
Year 7, but that's pretty impressive. Secondary
Yeah, so
school.
but the teacher was Miss Minas. Her name was for those who went to Hollywood school back in the day. So she was, and I can remember she was like had a big smile on her face, like this kid singing thing. But at the same time, it was like I think you sort of suppress it because some people make fun of you,
Yeah.
and then you make fun of other people as well. There was this like other kid there a who was like a great dancer, but he was quite sort of his dancing wasn't like it was like almost like Kathak dancing sort of thing. It was
Yeah.
quite feminine in nature, but we'd sort of. I think I took the biscuit out of him, and he must have like had a few took us. Kids are kids, aren't they? They can
Yeah.
be quite mean and stuff. So I remember it was quite suppressed, but then I remember when we had uh, um, when we had an audition for the choir, the Christmas choir and stuff. So I went in and sang the one line from music. She goes, "You're an angel. You're in."
What song was it?
I don't remember now.
Okay.
He'd give you a line and ask you to sing it, and you just sang
Sure.
it. And I was straight in, with no issues. But the sad thing was, the next year when the thing did, I didn't sing. I felt like a bit like, oh no, I was just watching me and I didn't give it my best. I didn't sing properly, so I didn't get in
Oh,
next year, which is quite sad, isn't it, really, if you think about it?
yeah, yeah. But okay, so and up to this point, you it's not like you even had any training or classes. It's just you've been singing at home, you
Yeah,
singing at parties as parents make
yeah,
you, and then your school teacher has encouraged you.
yeah.
Okay, so is there any like so I'm gonna fast forward you now. So it sounds like so through primary school, secondary school, this was the case until did you form a band at some point or
No,
what happened?
well,
What
at
connect?
secondary school, at later on, once I hit about year 10,
Yeah.
I found myself that I was actually good at singing and I wasn't scared to sing and like singing Bollywood songs. I remember singing songs from Kalnayak at that time.
And by this time your voice had become
Yeah, you'd broken it, but I used to love singing, and people at class I could sing the song. You wasn't when you're a kid, you're not scared of singing. You just
not
go
scared to
for it.
sing anything, are you?
Yeah, you
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
you think you're the bee's knees sort of thing.
So but it's good. So what were you still singing at school?
Yeah, so you
Singing
like
on stage?
everyone knew, and because remember at
Yeah.
that time, I think you're missing a vital part. At that time at school, my cousins and everyone they started getting into music, so I'd go into school saying, "Well, yeah, these are my cousins are, like
Okay.
or one's an excellency and stuff, and stuff. One is in this band. There's this band here. There's dancers here,
Yeah.
because I knew a lot of them, because they were sort of originally from Aston.
So you'd brag about these because these were very well known,
Yeah,
very popular in the
yeah.
area.
So I knew some of the bands and
Yeah.
stuff like. Did some of them come to my house or whatever, from my
Okay.
cousins and
And
stuff. So
so explain all of that. So like, what so you were in secondary school at this point, and then these bands you had a lot of influence. Like would you watch them perform or rehearse or what happened?
what happened like at that time, I think it's probably about 12, 11, 12. All these cassettes used to come out. As I said, we used to go to hi-fi when we'd moved to Handsworth, and and I knew some of the band members, like Excellency Dave Dudley was like, obviously he's our families go back right to Aston roots.
Okay.
So our granddads and mums and all knew each other. So Dave's older brother went to school with my mum.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's like that basically. So all the families knew each other in Aston and stuff. So I was probably a bit detached because I was a bit young, but my
Yeah.
mum can probably sort of fill you in a bit better in that
Yeah.
sense. But then every week would go out and see what the latest cassette was, and Excellency. I used to love Excellency. Well, great band. DCS used to love all these bands and stuff. They were like, as kids, they were the in band, and you'd go to your cousins. Someone had a cassette on.
Yeah.
Someone had one of the latest Bhangra album. They were like, to us. I think, well, after the age of 10, 11, 12, like some people were into hip hop, some people, but to me, like that was my music. That was our music. It wasn't like people might be into Oasis or this and that, but I wasn't really. But like, remember I told you I was into top of the pops, but after about 12, 13, it was just Bhangra and Bollywood.
This was the music you mostly identified
Yeah,
with.
Bhangra and Bollywood. That's it. It was, I think there were like touches of Prodigy and
Mhm.
bands like that. You'd touch on them, but it was mainly sort of, and whatever's on top of the pops at the moment. It was like Right Said Fred and um, um, Simply Red and Brian Adams. I think the popular songs you'd like, and whatever was out going at school. But for me, going on Saturday, getting the latest Bhangra cassettes, getting the latest Bollywood cassettes, so I was engrossed by the music. And then at a certain age, probably 15, 16, you start wrapping yourself up into the older music.
I'm just gonna go get ask you one question about all the cassettes and stuff. Was there one cassette or CD that you played on repeat that you can remember? It was kind of like the non-stop one, or like
Yeah.
if you saw their like music come on. I don't know if they came on something like MT. What they didn't have? They weren't on MTV, were they? There was a Indian channel, there was Z Music or something like that, or
So this is way before that.
Okay.
This is about 92. We didn't have the only channels you had is the full four channels. This was
All
being
right.
before
Okay.
Channel 5. So you had the four channels, and the latest music you heard was when you bought a video shop,
Yeah.
they had a trailer of the film or like a band trailer or something on it. That's it.
So was there any particular like, cassette that you just played
Yeah,
over
there was
and
Are You Ready was Excellency's first cassette. And I suppose it was that time when I was 12, about 12. And also Apache Indians, like arranged marriage and stuff, loved it to bits.
yeah.
But I remember Are You Ready particularly because the thing about that cassette, we were all on like we were painting a house at like it was my chacha's house. We were painting the house at all of us kids, also my cousins and all of us were painting. And with that cassette, we just had the cassette outside the same probably Hitachi, yeah,
Yeah.
double decker sort of thing. And that was Are You Ready? We just that was on constant repeat. And
Yeah.
I still remember, I think I probably remember all the songs of that album. So that was definitely a significant album for me
Yeah.
at that time. Yeah.
Okay. And so after um the cassettes influenced you, then school, you had the bands around your house as well. And now did when you're involved, did you have any involvement with the bands and as
So
such?
it wasn't the bands per se that come to my house, but like as I said, with Dave DeLuca, my cousin Morris, they were part of
Yeah.
COC for
Yeah.
people who know, and so it wasn't like the bands would come to my house, but like we'd know someone, like, like they'd just come to the house. So like Morris and Dave would come because they were friends, weren't they? They were like
Right.
brothers basically. Or, but I got heavily involved with the Soul Dancers boys, CIC, and everyone because we'd become really good family friends, and their younger brothers were same age as me,
Hmm.
and we'd all like hang out together. So the older brothers would hang out, we'd hang out, and then you'd be in touch with people like John Marl and you know
Uh,
all these Bangla people. You'd have that influence, and they'd take us to gigs sometimes as well.
okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were really cool. Would take us to gigs sometimes as well. I think Soldiers were there once with me. Yeah, so yeah, it was like that basically.
Did you see the Sahotas on Top of the Pops?
I remember seeing them on Blue Peter, I think.
Okay, okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
So where did you decide or that I'm going to pursue singing, or did you do a music module at school, or
No, no, it was nothing. I think at that time, I remember I was about 15, 15. My mum was saying, mum was saying, yeah, you want to be singer, sort of the list that she'd encourage it, but
yeah,
none of us knew this is why this podcast is actually formed because at that time, none of us knew what it takes to be a singer or a musician,
yeah,
and we just thought, oh, you're talented, and
that's it. You become
that's it. Yeah, you can become a singer. That's it. My mum didn't know. I didn't. That's all it was. And mum would ring a radio station. And my son's quite talented. Would you hear listen to him this and that? So I remember
oh,
mum doing
wow.
that for me. Yeah. So,
Was
but
it was there any success with that?
probably not at that time. Probably not at that time. But the radio presenter, obviously they're all polite and stuff, so they're not going to say, "Oh, your son's rubbish" and this and that. Because I
Yeah,
wasn't rubbish as a kid.
yeah,
But I wasn't like
yeah,
exceptional or anything like that. I would
right.
say that, yeah, I wasn't rubbish, but wasn't exceptional. But I suppose, yeah, that was about 50, at the age of 15. That was
Okay. So when did you like start to perform? Because now you formed a hit, really. You know, you made a song that was in top 10, Club Asia. When did that start? When did that become
and so what happened was uh, I started writing when I was about at the age of 12.
okay,
So and it was almost like a parody writing. And I told Patchy Indian this that he was my influence in writing.
right.
But a key figure before that is my Masi. So
Okay.
my Masi ghost wrote for a lot of bands and stuff that
Okay.
no one knows. sort of, I'm not going to mention name, but at that time it was probably frowned upon.
Can I? I know you said. Did you just say you're not going to mention which bands or?
Yeah, I'm not going to mention which bands and stuff, just because, yeah,
Yeah.
however it
Yeah.
is, yeah. So
Okay.
unless she gave me permission, that's fine. But she hasn't given me permission
Right.
right now. So, but she had an influence. She had a good few songs out, and but under like a ghost name. So this, but because it was frowned upon, my chacha, he's not here with us now, but I don't think it would have been really, really, really gone down badly in
It's
that time.
really sad though, isn't it? Like, the, the fact she's this talented writer,
Oh, she's exceptional. Honestly, she's a lot of the songs I wrote afterwards, like including JD Varga, was in collaboration with her. And
Well,
then we sat down and wrote these songs together.
yeah.
So she deserves all the credit. To be fair, and she was an influence to the way I wrote and things. But my first song actually didn't. I wrote myself. What was back to the point I was saying was with Apache India, a parody of Apache Indians' arranged marriage, which
From
was I
yourself.
want parota. I want parota from Jalandhar. So something along the lines of that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just some
yeah,
silly song as a you write as 11, 12 year old. So, but that's
yeah.
what got the journey. But my song Tere Na Te Glassy, which you're referring to, which was number one on Brit Asia for 3 weeks, I think,
Okay.
in 2008. I wrote when I was 18 on a bus.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a notepad and bus. I think it's supposed to be for notes, but I wasn't taking notes at work at college. So I was probably 17, 18 years. I wrote the song on a bus.
I'm just gonna go like because you were talking about when you were 15 and stuff. That's when you were
Yeah,
getting the cassettes. And at this point, kids are then thinking what they're going to become, like what career they're going to do. In your case, that wasn't the case. It was that you were just going to school, doing the exams. But at this stage, was it at this stage you thought, okay, I want to be a singer, or were you just like how kids are not really thinking?
yeah. It was a bit funny because, like, without going into too much detail, because you get into personal
Yeah,
things this way. I think at that point, things around me um as I wasn't as maybe as focused on things because initially when I was younger, I'd always
yeah,
wanted to get into astronomy and get into physics and things like that.
yeah.
Um, but I, I think when I was at school, things came a bit easy for me. Like the GCSEs, I didn't find them very hard.
Sure.
But so there was a massive gap between that and A levels. So I didn't have to, because GCSEs, you just walk through them sort of thing. You
Yeah.
thought you could take that approach with A levels, but which wasn't the case.
I
So
suppose what I'm trying to ask is like, did you at that point think I want to be a singer?
yeah,
And
there
then
was always singing was always on the cards. I want to be a singer, but you don't know. You just say it, you don't know how you do. It.
sure.
And I remember I used to like write songs and you know not walking to school when I was say when I started work after I left college and stuff. You walk into work and catching the bus. You're thinking of you listen to music, and as you listen to music, you're making your own songs in your mind.
Yeah.
So that's what would happen.
Okay. So then 18 is when you started that's when you released your first track.
No, no. I
No.
wrote Tere Na Te Glassy at
Oh,
18.
okay. And that was with your Masi who's
No, no. This is on the bus myself.
sorry. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then so after what happened from there?
So I wrote the song and I probably wrote a few other songs as well.
Hmm.
And I was also heavily involved at that time, probably in the early 2000s, with gospel music.
Okay.
So I was heavily involved writing gospel music, which again we performed. We sort of pioneered a gospel sound, Punjabi gospel sound at the time. Um, with
Right.
yeah, that was quite profound. So then I think Lassie was written in '98, but it was left all these songs. I got all these songs which were written at that time. Probably went through a period where you just write songs. Karen.
Okay, so you're part of a gospel band, you say?
Yeah, so we was part of a we going to church and stuff. So we're part of a gospel band there because I used my talents for Bhangra and stuff and that.
Yeah.
So at that time, I started taking singing lessons. So before that, yeah.
Okay.
So from Minna Digi, which is where the next part came, basically. That was my first. Um, that was my first sort of exposure to proper teaching.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started taking lessons from Mina Digi. So we and she started teaching me like sargams and rags and stuff like that. So with on the Vajra, so I learned the basics from her,
Right.
and
Okay.
that's and through her, that's how I met Just Ritz.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she introduced me to Just Ritz a few years later, and so she introduced me to Just Ritz, and yep. But I don't want to diverge. We can get to that bit later. Yeah.
No worries. No. Okay, so at this stage, you're writing songs, you're also vocalizing, and you more or less started formal training with her then. And were you playing instruments at this time as well?
No, I mean, there was always like, as I said to you before, when I was a kid, it was like almost like we didn't know. You sort of think that these things come to you naturally.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You're sort of how can I say? You sort of think that these things come without actual focused deliberate practice.
The reason why I just ask is because, like, being a vocalist, you've always shown me that you have a Varga. I've always known you to have a harmonium. Do you know what I mean? To
Yeah,
find keys and things like that.
yeah.
So I just thought, I assumed that maybe, and also you were surrounded by bands, a lot of musicians. So the Varga came later, probably with Mina Auntie.
Yeah, the Vajra started off with when Mina, because she'd wanted me to learn
Yeah.
um yeah, the way she taught, she'd give you a rag and she'd give you like a book, and on that book it'd have like the rag that you're learning, the bundish, the
Yeah.
alap and stuff, and you'd have to learn that on the Vajra, and she'd give you sargams to learn.
Sorry, what's the Rag, Bandish, and Alap?
So
Sorry.
a rag is basically it's not a scale.
Okay.
It's not the direct equivalent. Is not a scale, and most people actually get rags wrong because basically they say rag bhairavi and stuff. Well, they're referring more to a scale. A scale is a combination of notes forward and backward, the same. But a rag is basically it has a flavor.
Okay.
That's the best way to do it. So the best way to so you got a scale, but the scale has a flavor. So you can have two scales,
Yeah.
but each scale has a different flavor, which is what makes the rag.
Right.
And by flavor, I mean the way the rag is delivered, and the way the rag is uh, how can I say it? The way the rag is expressed is different. So the scale is different in both. The scale the same, but the rag is delivered in a different way. So, if for example, one rag, I'm simplifying now. One rag could you have the same notes going upwards, but
Yeah.
when you're coming down, the combination of rag of notes has to be in a certain order.
Okay.
So it can't be just all the way down. It has to be like sort of, one, two, three, back to two,
Hmm.
three, four. So that's what makes the rag. Just that little jump of that little variation creates a variation in the music.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
does that make sense?
Well, to a non-musician,
Yeah.
you did spell it out nicely, but
Yeah.
basically what I'm getting is that from Mina, do you start to get all this technical
Yeah,
vocab?
so you started the exposure to rags was
Yeah.
initially through her. Yeah.
And did this kind of, I mean, what was your reaction to it? Because I imagine you probably thought, okay, I'm just going to learn singing, look at all these singers, and you just imitated a lot of these singers, and thought, okay, if I can make my voice sound like them, then I've successfully learned how to sing. So at this stage now, Mino Andy's told you about all these technical things. Did that overwhelm you? Did it make you think, oh gosh, I wish I started this sooner? Or what was it like going from going from not formally training, like learning the way you were to now learning more formally. And you were like, what, 18, 19 at this point, weren't you?
Probably early 20s.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So was it quite an overwhelming jump to go from just singing, copying your favorite artist to formal training?
Actually, you might be right. It might be 18, 19. I can't remember this thing. Yeah, but back to your question, I think um I think it was just like you sort of learning uh, you're just going home and doing the homework basically. I don't think I was thinking about because it was like the way the rags are taught, it's slightly different to normal music.
Okay.
So for me at that stage of my life, the two didn't translate. The two didn't
Okay.
cross over. They were like separate segments of music.
It's probably a good thing then, like, because like when you talk about music now, you tell me there's so much to it.
Yeah,
So, at that stage you're young as well and you're just thinking, right, just go for it and just do it.
yeah. So
So
there
that's
was basically there were the music the rag part didn't cross over to the kind of music I wanted to sing. So there
sure.
were two segments, but you just do it because you think that's the way everyone does it.
And were you rehearsing on a regular? Did she give you lots of homework? I mean, how and was it like weekly classes? How was it?
Yeah, it was weekly class, and you'd go home and do the homework and stuff. And but I think going back, I
Mhm.
don't think I was as disciplined a student as I would have liked to be.
How do you mean what you weren't doing the
Yeah,
rehearsal?
you probably wasn't doing the exercises as much as I do now, basically.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, it was a bit more like, oh yeah, you're doing it, and you. I think this is it's immaturity of mind at that point, and also what I said to you earlier was about about not being guided, not knowing that actually you have to put this work in this that, and a lot of it just came to me. That's why it was like I suppose it goes back to my GCSEs. This just flew past them.
Yeah.
A lot of it was like that. They just because music just came to me like that. Probably
Yeah.
didn't really. There was probably some sort of exposure to it and um, inadvertent practice. You know,
Sure.
but not it wasn't deliberate
Right.
practice. Yeah.
Okay. I suppose me and Andy introduced you to the world of it in that way. In
Absolutely, yeah. She the theory and the techniques and stuff like the basic techniques. She definitely
Okay.
introduced me to them. Yeah.
And was she strict as a teacher? Like was it one to one? And did she say to you, no, you're singing this bit wrong, sing it again? Like, what was that like?
So she no, she was actually she's always been really lovely. To be fair, like
Yeah.
even today, I still like because of as you know because Minanti is my first teacher. I still go and perform for her to this day.
Yeah.
She did like a community event every few months and stuff. So if she needs me when I'm available, I'll just go and perform a few songs for her and stuff. So
And to be fair, like every time you've spoken about performing at her events, it's like you light up, I've noticed. You performed at lots of gigs, but then when you
yeah,
talk about going to hers and, even though it's not paid and everything, it's just like the experience of it, the way the crowd is and what the,
yeah, and you sort of giving back because she's put that effort in. She's part of my massive part of my journey when it started off, and she trained. I think she trained people like Justice Hindu as well at the
wow.
start. Yeah, so she trained a lot of people. I'm not sure whether they continue, but I know that a lot of these teachers were a lot of these singing, a lot of these singers were maybe exposed to minority at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And she's still going on today, training people, running.
yeah. She's going. She's great.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so then after Minandi, so you were introduced to Just Ritz. Was this the first producer, or I mean, you're part of the gospel band as well at this stage as well.
Yeah, so as I
So,
said, I was pioneering the gospel sound as well at that time. Well, not I was. We had a team like me, Jason Nelson, and a few others and stuff. So we were doing stuff which is pretty cool, to be fair. Um, at that point,
were you the church worship team?
yeah. So I was a part of the. I was a worship leader at that point, but we had like this gospel band at the same time as well, which we'd take to like which we take to events. Basically, would have like, I think we performed at Handsworth Park, one of the massive festivals there.
Yeah.
We'd perform like around the country. We'd perform
Wow.
like there's Walk of Witness. There's like a truck that goes on Soho Road.
I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be doing the Asian side of that part as well.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there was a lot of stuff we did at that time. It was quite, and what we'd bring a totally different style to what the normal Asian gospel stuff was.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with the Asian gospel stuff, but we'd make it a bit different, sort of thing, which would bring ourselves and it's a form of worship, really, wasn't it, for us at that time?
One thing I never asked you is what did you ever record any of this music that you did with the gospel band?
Record it in what way?
I mean, I think you have some live videos or people filming you while you're performing at a service or something like that, or at one of these events. But apart from that, it's not like you went to a music studio and recorded.
No, we didn't. I mean, eventually I will. I've got all these songs written from that point, that
Mhm.
period, and I do want to sort of actually officially release the songs because some of the songs are great. If people hear them, they're very different to conventional Asian gospel music sort of thing. But some of them are actual Asian gospel songs, which I adapted, totally changed the way they were supposed to be delivered.
Okay. And so are these covers of existing songs or are they songs that you wrote or that
Some of them I wrote myself,
okay.
and some of them are covers, and some of them were sort of adapted.
Hmm.
Yeah, or some of
Okay.
them a bit of both.
And how big was the band? Was it like a
S-
seven-piece or how
So
big?
we had initially the core band was myself, Nelson, the guitarist, and he had Jason, who was like the most talented musician you'd ever meet. He could play bass, keys, guitar, play anything basically. I remember I gave him a Varga. He was playing the Varga like it's his like he's been all like he's been playing it his whole life. And this was a black guy, by the way. Jason was
Yeah.
unbelievable guy. Yeah. So there was three of us core, but then we had other members coming in and out. There was Junior on drums.
Mhm.
Again, Junior's part of he was part of the band scene back in the day.
Yeah.
So, but then we also had like other bass players coming in, other drummers and other musicians coming in and out. You had door players who come in and out depending on the sea. I had professional like musicians like I think in one event we did, I had DCS keyboard player doing keys
Right.
for us while
Okay.
Jason played bass. So there's a lot of people who helped us out
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, but the core was me, Jason, and now.
And I think it was you as well, mostly involved in not only the musical work, but all the background work of like giving everyone lifts, dropping them back, picking them up, all that kind
Yeah, that was
of.
no. I suppose when it was me, Jason, and now Jason obviously was part involved in that as well. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And then, so how long did the gospel band last? Because I remember even when I met you, you'd regularly rehearse for church performances and things like that.
So that lasted probably about 5 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was great. As I said, that really helped us develop the live scene, the
Okay.
live set, which you shouldn't really like. I feel a bit guilty. I don't want to come across as like I've used the church thing to make, but inadvertently, if I'm speaking, inadvertently, it helped us really it helped me develop the live singing part of it.
Okay. Whereas
So
before you weren't much of a live singer.
no, with the band.
Right.
Because I remember once I performed, like this is before the gospel stuff, I performed with the band once and I was out of key.
Okay.
Even stuff like when you're performing live with a band, you got to know, like, I know it's a very simple thing now. You look at it, the musicians would think, oh, this is a very babyish thing to know. But when I first performed once, I remember I was performing with a live band and I'd rehearsed and everything, but I just started singing and the band was singing on a different key, playing on a different key. So
Right.
even stuff like that, this was ironed out, and coming in and out and controlling the band and stuff like that. So if you give me a band now,
Yeah.
I'd know exactly what to do with it, how to perform with the band, and what bits to come in and out. What all this stuff. We were so experienced with it, and a lot of that was the gospel side of it. Yeah.
Okay. And then, but this was happening at the same time when you met Just Rit. So it's like you had two music journeys going on. One was the gospel side of things, and then the other side was working with Ritz and doing the Bhangra side of things. Is that how it was?
Yeah, it was like that actually. Yeah, so we had the gospel side of it as well. If I can remember correctly, yeah, the gospel side of it as well, and then we had the yeah, we're doing just Ritz and just when I went just Ritz, we started. I showed him Tere Na Te Glassy, and he didn't like that song first.
It didn't seem like it seemed like it was like by chance you met him. It's not like, I mean, even though you wanted to be a singer, but it's the Bhangra thing just kind of happened, didn't it? By the
Well,
look.
me and auntie always knew I wanted to get into this.
Yeah.
So Ritz was after a singer, and then
Yeah.
she was the link. And I think she'd learned Dole or something. Maybe he'd learned Dole through me and auntie. Some sort of connection like that. I'm not sure whether she taught him Dole, but some sort of connection like that. And then I went to see him once to his house, drove to his house. Then we did he showed him Thin Arthur Glassy. He wasn't really too keen on that at that time.
Okay.
Then we we wrote Neo Nibney there on the spot sort of thing. We got the vibe of it, and then I went back with my Masi, and as I said, we finished the song, wrote the Neo Nibney.
Okay. And that was like that was a, even though it's a depressing song, that was a dance track. It was like an upbeat.
Yeah, well, it's not really. It's see when you listen to Punjabi songs, there are a lot of Punjabi songs that even though they might have a sad theme or like a not like what's the word I'm looking for a
Like melancholy.
yeah like yeah
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
like a melancholy sort of thing but like Lember's song Jalakiyan,
Yeah.
that's a perfect example. That's like a dance floor track, like you
Right.
play in dance floor, but the theme of it is actually quite like कानू कर दी चलाकियां तू कह दे यार टुट गई kind of, basically saying why are you doing these schemes, just tell me we've broken up. For those who don't know so that there was always bass in the Punjabi in Punjabi music, or in any music. I think that the song could be like that, lately I don't know whether you've heard um um Ed Sheeran's track, um
Yeah.
the one I showed you, didn't it?
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
an example of that.
yeah. Yeah. I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
I'm just trying to think because I suppose I grew up on R&B and things like that, and when a
But
song was
all of that's really sad.
yeah,
Yeah, and
a
none of
song was
it's like a
sad.
lively thing.
No, I mean it's a sad song is a sad song, and I suppose the only person who made a sad song sound a bit happy to me was Amy Winehouse, really, Yeah. Anyway, so Punjabi music all it has always been like that, and
Well,
uh,
not only Punjabi music, as I said, like I'm sure Jacko's got a few songs like that as well,
yeah,
where the theme is not like it's not a happy song, but it's still a cool song to you bop your head to it.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's interesting actually. I'd never thought about that in that way, but
Yeah, there's a load of songs, aren't there? You just don't realize, but actually, just because a song's got like saddish lyrics, it doesn't mean that it's
you have to sing it in a sad way.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
suppose it makes you feel better about it, isn't it? It's like, okay, it
yeah.
just makes you think that's one of the things in life. Okay, so after Neo Nimbani, how did that do? Like, so you came, you know,
I think we recorded maybe Nayo Nibney first,
okay.
and then we recorded Tere Na Te Glassy afterwards.
So
For
this
those
is
who don't know, these are songs I released with Just Ritz, and that was on Just Ritz's album. So I wrote and composed these songs that time, and uh, yeah. So Tere Na Te Glassy that blew up, like it really exploded. Like it was at that time, it was everywhere.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what did that feel like to you? And like at this point, you probably thought, I'm a singer now.
Yeah, at that time, I think it was a bit funny because it was a bit of a strange one because even though it was blowing up, um, and this is just how the industry was. It wasn't like anyone's fault that, like, it was. I wasn't really the highlight of the song, even though I'd written and composed it. It was Ritz because it was on his album.
Sure.
Yeah, which is just the way the industry was at that time. So I wasn't. So I wasn't. It wasn't like, oh, Raj Kaul and just Ritz. It was just like just Ritz,
Yeah.
then the album, and then. But I was just another singer basically on the album, even though I had so much to do with the composition, the writing. Basically, the song was basically the core of it, other than the music was the composition, the lyrics, and the way it was sung, and the singing was basically myself. But so it was a bit of it was a bit funny. As I said, like not many people knew that who I was, even though I was singing it with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was that kind of bit of detachment, if that makes sense.
But it must have been exciting as well because you went up and down the country performing as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that was like I got fed up of that because we toured the country doing that album, me and Ritz did, and sometimes we didn't get paid. Like we'd not even expenses and stuff would travel the whole country, and I think I got fed up. And this is down to the way the Bhangra industry was at that time, and it was like do it. It's good exposure.
Yeah.
So you go there, well, actually, it's not a good exposure, and there's nothing for you. Basically, some guy just pockets some money in and
He
just exploits you.
charges loads of tickets, charges a lot for the tickets, and doesn't give you a tiny cut, not
Yeah,
even
exactly.
not yeah, not even lunch or anything like that, or your fuel
Yeah,
expenses. But I mean, it unfortunately is kind of similar to today, really, and I suppose now people have wised up a bit. But I suppose, well, these are things that you live and learn from, like the whole graft side of it. And I, I mean, was it like that with the other songs then after?
so
Because
we did Naomi Bunny,
yeah,
then that release, and that again that did really well for us as well. So I'm just gonna cough a second. Yeah, we did Naomi Bunny, and that did really well as well. And then a few years, maybe a year or two after that, we did JD Varga. So Ritz wanted a song about JD, Jack Daniels. So
right.
I went with my Masi and we sat down and wrote Hani Tere Na Te JD Varga. So
Was that the process? So then Ritz would say, I want this kind of song. Then you wrote it. And then, like, so the first,
yeah, so he'd send me a beat or something, then we wrote it, the melody. Or sometimes you'd have the like Tere Na Te Glassy was there was no when I was 18 there was no beat or anything melody. I just had a tune in my head, wrote it down, and kept writing, and then like sometimes when we write songs down, we'd go to a mixed grill place,
yeah.
sit there, I'd just write a song.
Well, yeah, yeah. And then you'd sing it to me. And then obviously I don't know Punjabi, but I'd bounce it back to you somehow. You just
Yeah, yeah.
sing it to me.
You do know Punjabi. You just, I think you just,
No, but what you do, your process from what I understand is
yeah,
you write a song and then you'd say it out loud to me.
yeah,
And while you're saying it out loud, you would then think of a word that actually rhymes better, or actually I can put this
yeah,
in there. So yeah, that's what I noticed you do. And yeah,
yeah,
like a mixed grill place is quite a lovely
yeah. To do that, you
for
don't get a
someone.
chance to do that anymore because of the kids. But yeah,
No, no, but and there's something about a mixed grill place. Don't know why it has to be a mixed grill place, but it just feels like any other restaurant won't do it. But there you are.
absolutely, yeah,
Okay, so you started that process from all the way over there, except you were doing it with your Masi. So is there any? Sorry, just the. I'm going to cut this bit out because the camera's buzzing.
Sorry, Norris, carry on. Is there any what?
So basically, is there any like after this after just JD Varga and Just Ritz, what happened then?
So maybe it's an hour since we've been talking, believe it or not. So it may be we have to continue this another time because it's again, this is only a little bit of the story because you've taken it a great. I love the way you're taking the podcast because basically we haven't even touched on so much stuff.
I feel like I could have asked more, to be honest, because what it is for me being a non-musician, I've always found it fascinating. Like,
Yeah,
that the way you talk, though I've watched you perform live, you've performed up and down the country.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, I think you still don't understand why every time you come back from a gig, I always ask you, so how was it then? And you're like, yeah, it was good. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
right? Because what it is, I actually want to feel what it is to be a musician. See,
Yeah.
it's for normal people like myself to get up on a stage and sing or perform live. That's like, I'm just like, how does somebody do that? But the fact that you've been doing it from such
Yeah.
an early age, from secondary school, which is a time when, you know, kids, as we grow up, we can feel so insecure.
I think
Yeah, go on.
I think true music, like, when you ask me when I'll come back from those places, it's okay. Like, but when you play with musicians and a live band or like a live music
Hmm.
rather than a backing track,
Hmm.
it's never the same. I'll say that out explicitly, like basically it's never the same.
So what is it about it? This is because the thing is, now this is what I've always tried to ask you, but never got the answer for.
Yeah.
Since I've known you, you just light up when it comes to music,
Yeah.
right? So I suppose I'm wondering, what is it about music? So yeah, I think you're about to answer that now when it comes to
No, I'm just answering because you said like, was the show okay?
yeah,
All the gigs we did when we did the 12, 30 milli.
yeah.
But I'm just answering that question
Go
basically.
on then, go on,
Why
answer
that is.
that. Yeah.
So that because it's a live PA, because it's a PA sound, I just got really fed up. You don't get the same buzz as you do with the live band. Because as you said, we can go back to the gospel stuff. It was always with a live band.
So like, even the gigs, like you know, the Diwali one at Trafalgar Square,
Yeah, it's
like
never. Yeah,
thousands of
it was
people.
great, but
Yeah.
the surur you get, all that, like the buzz you get out of out of playing with a live band.
Yeah.
Because you can with a live band, right? You can do this, right? It's actually you're free. Otherwise, imagine you're on a ghost train, you're on a track like this.
Okay, you're confined when it's
Yeah, and the track can only go. You're basically on a train track. Is the best way to put it. The
okay.
train track's only going to go whatever where route it is. So, whereas if you're in a car on a road, you can turn this way. I want to stop for a second.
There's more freedom in a band.
Yeah. Whereas the
Express.
train track, you might like the other person might enjoy it, but you're basically just singing over what's already there. You can't change anything. You can't do a variation on the singing.
I think you've somewhat answered the question that I was trying to get about the love for music
Yeah,
because now you know I've known you from the eight from I was 26 when I met you. You were about 31.
yeah.
I've wa-
Unfortunately for you, yeah,
I've watched I've watched I've watched you perform live now, even doing rehearsals at our
yeah,
house. And then there's a part of you that just lights up. And I think now you've answered that because, like, we know when you're like sometimes freestyling and messing about.
yeah,
Um, there was one guy I'm not going to mention, but he was at our house and you were just freestyling. You were like, and so I don't know if I should say this, but you're like, and so having using the hello or something like that.
yeah,
You were just like singing out loud. Nelson was singing, strumming on the guitar, and then there was just all this music going on, and you were just freestyling, and you looked really like in your happy place, basically. Yeah,
yeah. Exactly. Like I remember we did Smethwick Miller once, and the best bit of Smethwick Miller was because it was like a semi thing. But the best bit of it when I did my own tappe, so I wrote these tappe years ago.
hmm
I've never released them, but because they can't be released because the way they just the way they're composed. But I was able to perform that live, and
yeah,
that's great, because I can everything's live. I can come in and out when I want. Signal to the door player, stop a second, come in. You can't do that when you got a backing track playing.
right,
And even then, the backing track's got a pre-recorded voice at the background as well.
yeah,
You might even get like a backing track that's like not got your voice on it. It's just an instrumental, but even then, you're still stuck on rails.
yeah, yeah. I feel like you said, we've come to the hour, so we will carry on and do a part two. But before we end the podcast, what would you say to, I suppose, what would you say to yourself? Like, if you could tell your younger self about musical excellence, what advice would you give?
Do you want to do the musical excellence question in this one, or you
Well,
want
I
to
mean,
go?
I suppose while I've got you here, because you said part two might happen a year later, or
No, I think like part two of this one should happen soon because it's not like you've basically gone down a deep dive of
sorry.
my history, which is great. No, it's great, but I think for we'll see what the audience says basically. See if they want a part two, they might say, "Oh, Gerard, you're super boring. Stick to
No, it's
hosting
not.
instead."
No, you know what they'll say? They'll say, Ruby, you just stick to the background. Because, sometimes it's down to the interviewer. And I'll be honest, today I've actually appreciated the work you do. I was like, oh, wow, this is actually like, it's harder than you think. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, but anyway, no one else is
Yeah,
like,
you always go, "Oh no, you should have asked this way. You should have said that." You always say that to me, don't you?
and for all the listeners, yep, I'm always directing Raj saying, no, 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 don't do it like this way, do it this way. But seriously, now that I've done it, it's like, yeah, okay, be quiet. Anyway, but no, no, okay, so to be continued then.
Yeah, I mean, I can sort of answer some of your question, like not the musical excellence one. That, like, I suppose, but this goes back to so it's a very serious note now. Like I'm saying, we were talking about earlier. He's reading this book about just the stuff that goes on around the world, and
Yeah.
like we're so privileged to be here. There's kids out there who just are starving, dying. I know this is turning to something else. I don't want to make it really sad, but we're honestly so privileged to be here. So make the most of it. I think that's what if I'll go back and make the most of it and really work hard because there's nothing else but working hard. And if you got something, just but we can get into why how you work hard. It's a different. There's an actual system how to work hard as well. But
Basically, what you're trying to say is we're privileged. We've got access to everything.
we've
We're
got access to
privileged.
here, and
Yeah,
don't like really pursue it with everything you've got. Honestly,
yeah.
pursue it with everything you've got. Don't turn left, right. Become like that horse, that has a
Blinkers.
what are they called? Stirrups? No,
Blinker.
what are they
Blinker.
called? Blinkers. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I would say stirrups, but stirrups is the foot thing, isn't it? But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, guys. So that was this episode. I'm sure Ruby, you want to finish this episode off, and
No,
because you're going to be doing the second part.
thank you guys. And God bless you and tune in next time.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, guys. And make sure you subscribe and leave me your comments on this special episode, guys. Bless you.